much for tuning into my channel. I'm Rupal, and today we are back with one inspiring story of Manesh Gupta. He's a graduate from Shri College of Commerce. He did his articleship in transfer pricing from BMR Advisors. He then went on to become the CA in the very first attempt, and now he is a respected IRS officer. I'm thrilled and pleased to welcome my friend IRS Manesh Gupta. Hi Manesh.
Hi Rupal, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am also doing fine. Great catching up with you.
Hi, long time. Manesh, tell us where you are and tell us about what you're doing right now, and then we'll obviously go through your journey.
Right now, I am posted in Calcutta as Assistant Commissioner of Income Tax. I am handling transfer pricing again here in Calcutta. So I am looking into transfer pricing audits for companies which are based in West Bengal, Northeast, Jharkhand, Odisha, and Bihar. Every year, the government selects few companies for transfer pricing audit, and they're assigned to the jurisdictional officer based on where the company is located. So I get some companies from this area for audit purposes. So this is basically my work.
Thank you for giving us time and thank you for sharing your journey here. You were born in Patna and then you were brought up in Patna in Kolkata. Can you share what was your childhood like? Any inspiring stories from that time?
Most of my childhood was spent in hostels. I was sent to a boarding school when I was in second standard, or around 7 years of age. And since then, I've stayed away from my family. Like initial 3 years, I was in Ranchi. Then I was in a boarding school in Patna, and then I came to Calcutta to live with my uncle and auntie. Boarding school phase is very interesting. I have a lot of small stories where you are able to, like understand and you develop as a person. When you live in a boarding school, you are exposed to all kinds of pressures in life, be it bunking classes, not studying for exams and everything, because you don't have a oversight of your parents. So all those temptations are there early in our life. And if you're able to resist that, then a boarding school nurtures your personality very well. And what is, I think, very important was that my parents had defined like a broad set of values. The most important fact was that my parents always had a set of expectations from me, and they very clearly communicated what they expected out of me, and I tried to match their expectation like most of the times. That is something that helped me become what I am. So my parents never imposed too many restrictions. Akshay Kumar was my favorite actor in 7th or 8th standard. I used to run away from the hostel to watch his movie first day, first show. So once what happened was when I ran away, when I came back, I realized that my parents were in the hostel. They were waiting for me. They had come to meet me unexpected. So then when I saw my parents waiting for me, I realized that I was caught. I was very nervous and I broke down. I apologized, but they said it's okay. You just went to watch a movie, which is okay. So they were very cool about that. That made me realize that I've not done something which is that grave also that cannot be pardoned.
I also think कि boarding school type का experience at such an early stage would have made you so independent, right?
I think everybody should experience boarding school, like at least like for a few years in your life. So I think at some point of time in your life, it is important that you step away from the comfort and the security that your parents provide, just to experience what the real world is, so that tomorrow you're prepared for that.
And मैंने कभी boarding school वाला experience नहीं किया है, but when I came from Ludhiana to Delhi, that was altogether a life-changing experience for me, and I can totally relate to it because earlier I was in a very protective and very homely environment where everything is being taken care of, and suddenly you are taken out of your comfort zone and you are in Delhi, and that too like a metropolitan city. You have to manage everything yourself and you have to make your own independent decisions. I can totally relate what you're saying, that your life can go from here to anywhere if you're just taking one wrong step. But at the same time, if you have those values with you, you are clear on what you want to achieve and you're not deviating from your objective, I think a little bit of fun doesn't harm anybody.
Yeah. Anybody who's in commerce stream in the +1 and +2, everybody wants to go to Shri College. That is the benchmark for everybody. And I also was not any different. I wanted very desperately to go to SRCC. One, because SRCC being in North Campus offers the kind of exposure that very few colleges in India does, because it's a hub of students, it's a hub of activities. The North Campus itself is concentrated with many other colleges like Hindu, Stephen, Hansraj. There is amalgamation of so many diverse set of students who have different cultures, who bring their own perspective, and that comes together in North Campus. I think the college delivered more than what I expected. The most important aspect of SR is that there is very little emphasis on classroom learning. So classroom learning is important, but that is not the end. There are a whole host of activities, and you're actively encouraged to participate in all kinds of activities. For me, I found my liking in the Students' Union activity. So the Students' Union engages in all kinds of activities for the welfare of students, but the most important one is organizing the fest, which is one of the biggest fests of DU, and it is organized on such a scale that the preparation starts from a long time back, like 3-4 months back. So that preparation requires managing like a team of 150 people who go around with fundraising from corporates, coordination with all the artists who are supposed to come. That was something that I liked a lot. And honestly, my attendance in college was very bad. And I was also supposed to prepare for IPCC. CPT I had cleared after 12th, so I was supposed to give IPCC. But I said that I was so engrossed in the union activities that I kept my IPCC attempt for later. I said, this is not important. What is more important is I make the most out of college. So having worked in the union in my first year of college, second year, I got the opportunity to contest elections. I was actually offered secretary position. That contesting in election is now again a very different set of game. In SRCC, the election process is a little bit more idealistic than what you see in general college elections. It is based on campaigning, it is based on canvassing for votes, it is based on your agenda, it is based on how much outreach you can have, and it is based on door-to-door campaigning, classroom-to-classroom campaigning. It is a democratic campaign. So that was a very different activities. I consider myself to be a bit introvert. So fighting elections was something that now I find it very difficult to digest, that how did I manage to fight an election and win an election. So because I am not somebody who speaks a lot, that is what SRCC brings out of you. It made me contest an election. It made me reach out to around 1,000+ people, ask for votes, and then made me win also. The college as a fraternity is very closely knit. Everybody knows everybody. And since I got the privilege of staying in the college hostel, which was just in the college campus itself, that made my college period all the more interesting, because at any point of time I had 150 people to chill with in the college hostel. So that was very nice. And some of the best brains from SRCC, they live in SR hostel, because like the cutoff for SR hostel is even higher. So the kind of people who were there in SR hostel were on a different level altogether. They were very creative. They're very innovative, very hardworking people, very high IQ people. It gave a different level of confidence. When you live with people who have such high caliber, it gives you so much confidence that you yourself can go out and achieve many things. So that is I think that is the more, I think the network that SRCC helps you to build, that is the biggest asset, I think, of SRCC. And I think I am greatly indebted to that institution for whatever it has given.
That's not exactly, but kind of, that what happened with me, because when I was in school, I was highly introvert. And when I tell people this today,
Yeah.
that, I was very introvert, nobody believes me. Literally, nobody believes me. They're like, no, you talk a lot. How can you be an introvert? But that's actually true. I could not have struck a conversation with with a random person. It may be a person I know, but if it's not like in my close friends of 2 3 people, I would not have had the courage to go and speak up to the person. I was only into books. I was only studying. Matlab, literally, I have like been like stayed in Ludhiana and been brought up in Ludhiana, but I had never gone on a typical Punjabi gedi to any of the Ludhiana spots, because I was only studying from school to home and home to school and nothing else. And when I came to college, I remember the first day when I came for admissions, and then you have to file the form and you have to give that particular interview. I remember looking at people and I was like awestruck. I was like, how? Like, people are so, students are so outgoing and everybody is doing the things themselves rather than depending on their parents. And I was just looking up to my mother at that time, like, Mummy, aap hi kar do, aapke saath hi jaungi, and all of that. But then when I came to college, I like literally realized that everybody is equally brilliant. You know, you're not like out of the box. Everyone's equally brilliant, and still they're so creative, like you said. People are so creative. People are doing so many things out of the box, out beyond studies. They're studying at the same time. They're doing all these creative things, from dramatic society to debate society. You were a part of union, so you have done that part. And that actually kind of opened my eyes that, you have to come out of your comfort zone, do things beyond studies. That's how your personality is groomed. It's not only about studying when you go to college. And this is one big myth that, students have, especially CA students. They feel that, they don't feel the need to go to the college. They feel that college is a waste of time. We would, become CA 1 or 2 years earlier. Why should we go to college? And also, CA is a post graduation degree. What do we earn from a college? It's literally not studies. It is what happens beyond studies which grooms your personality, is what I very strongly believe, that every student should go to a regular college. If you get to go one of the best colleges, obviously you should go. But even if you don't get to go to SRCC and you get to go to other colleges, that really can help bring out the personality. That kind of brings me to the next question. Then, after college, you went to transfer pricing in BMR Advisors. So, was college something that helped you get into BMR? And what was life in articleship? Was it only hard work? Were there any fun elements? What was it like for you?
Actually, I think the only reason I got into BMR was because I was from SRCC. So that was the I think that was the reason they called me for interview. And the person that my technical round was taken by by my manager, who also was from SRCC. So I think that was, and we really hit it off really well. We started talking about college, and she became a bit nostalgic, and that is why I think that is where we clicked, and that is why she took me also. So I think all the credit for me joining BMR or getting into BMR goes to SRCC. I think that is something that I'll never forget. Life in BMR was really very. I think it was very challenging, but it was very, very, very productive. Whatever basics, it made me a thorough professional. It was a very small team at BMR, but I think the team was, all of them were very, very, very technically proficient, very qualified, and we worked with some of the biggest companies in the world, like Fortune 500 companies. For anybody to start their career with an organization like BMR, it makes you a thorough professional. I think there were times when I was even working, say, even on Republic Day, I went to office. I remember that very clearly. But I thoroughly enjoyed my work experience. It was very challenging. I was at the bottom level in hierarchy, but they gave me a lot of work, which I think helped me build a very thorough knowledge of the subject, which I'm benefiting from even now. And my interest and what I wanted to do in life became quite clear after my experience in BMR. I was very, very, very happy with my own contribution to the organization, as well as what the organization was giving back to me in terms of the experience and the recognition. My work was taken very seriously. Even though I was an article, I was given a lot of responsibilities. For instance, even for DRP hearings, I used to go to Bombay at times. So there were I think this shows that the organization had a fair bit of confidence in me, and this showed that organization wanted to give me space to grow. I think these are factors which are really very important in any organization that you want to work. And I think BMR was the perfect place. I enjoy if I don't think any corporate organization in the tax field um, is offers what BMR did at that point of time. So at that point of time, BMR was one of the best tax consulting firms, and we were just lucky that we were part of it.
Very interestingly, you cleared your CA in first attempt, and then you left the CA world and went on to do your UPSC preparation. So Manish, what motivated you to do UPSC? What motivated you to do UPSC, and why aspiring to be, giving UPSC exams and clearing it after becoming CA, which is in itself a very challenging journey. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think when I was working with BMR, one aspect that I always was worried about was what is the kind of work that I'm doing, what is the impact of my work uh, on the society as a whole. So there I felt that if I make a switch from a corporate side where I'm helping one MNC to the government side where I'm helping the government, there I can be of great help, and my impact in the society can be much more. This is what I felt. So for instance, if you're advising an MNC on how to optimize your tax structure, vis-a-vis you're helping government to check all the loopholes that are there in the law, check all the schemes that MNCs use to avoid legitimate taxation in India. That I found that the second role, that the role in the government was much more productive, and my experience in the government would be much more diverse than what I would get in the corporate world. So this was not because of BMR; it would have been there in any organization that I would have worked in. So I felt that in order to have a deeper and more meaningful impact on the society, it was important that I at least try and attempt for UPSC, which allows you to work for the government, and see that if I get into UPSC, I am in one of the services where whatever knowledge and skill that I've accumulated at that point of time, all that can be put to use for betterment of services to the to taxpayers, or for betterment in terms of revenue collection for the government. And thankfully, with UPSC, I could have landed in any service. Thankfully, it was income tax, where I was able to, which is in perfect sync with whatever I've learned and studied till now, be it BCom or CA or my articleship experience. Everything is in sync with my current role as IRS. So I am very grateful to God that having cleared UPSC, I landed into income tax, which means that that something that I dreamed of prior to clearing UPSC has come true, because now my impact on society through my work in the government will be much more, because I'm able to utilize everything that I've learned right from say 11th standard, the basics, debit, credit that we all learn. So everything has been put in use, will be put in use, and my role, I'm very confident that I'll be able to deliver in a much more meaningful and productive way with working with the.
And I'm sure you're to achieve heights in the transfer pricing field and the tax field as a whole. I am quite confident on that. back to this unique mix of CA and UPSC. So, from your experience when you were studying for UPSC, do you find that a lot of CA students go for UPSC? As a general myth, a lot of people believe that UPSC is only for arts students and it may not be a fit for commerce students. Is it true?
No, actually, if you see the current trends of UPSC, 60 to 65% of people who clear the exam are engineers. They're not art students. Around 10%, 7 to 10% people are from commerce background. So that number has, the number of people who from commerce background who've been attempting the UPSC exam has steadily increased. And now a lot more CAs are opting for UPSC. So I think, and given that 65 to 70% of people who clear are engineers, the myth that only arts people can crack UPSC is not right. I think all you need is like great determination and a basic level of intelligence and aptitude that we all have. If you've cleared CA, then you have that level of aptitude and intelligence that is required for clearing UPSC. But what UPSC demands, apart from in far greater quantity than the CA exam, is determination. The ability to persist, no matter what. That is what UPSC demands. And I think if you've cleared CA exam, then you have that in you. All you need is determination to sit through, give all the hours that it takes, and just give all the time. All it needs, all this exam demands is time from you. And if you're able to give the time, you'll clear it sooner or later. So that is what it is. I think your educational background in terms of CA is no deterrence for you to clear UPSC. If you ask me, it is CA itself is quite a difficult exam. So you are prepped. So you are quite comfortable taking a difficult exam like CA, then you will be comfortable taking another difficult exam like UPSC. So I feel that ways there is no. The only thing is that you're not very comfortable studying humanities paper like geography or history or sociology, which you will be in time. It's only a matter of time. You give 2-3 months to the subject and you will be timed. There are a lot of courses available online, offline. Coaching institutes, enroll in any one of them and you will be comfortable. That is not a challenge, at least. And your intelligence and aptitude are not, nobody's questioning them because you've cleared CA. That shows that you have the required amount of intelligence and aptitude to clear UPSC as well.
That's quite encouraging, and I'm sure it will be quite encouraging for CA students who are aspiring to be a UPSC aspirant. Manesh, next question is, how did you study for UPSC, and did the CA journey really help you? Tips and tricks, if you have any, for studying for UPSC.
Yeah, so basically, I think when it comes to UPSC, after clearing CA, I did not stop because I already had a momentum of studying for CA exam. So I thought instead of taking a break, I should just continue with my study mode and jump into UPSC. So I didn't give myself a break. So I was already habituated studying for CA final. It was easy for me to pick up books again. So I think people who give, like if you take a break, if you start working for 1 or 2 years and then you again pick up books, it becomes difficult. But if you've cleared CA final and then you if you pick up UPSC again, then I feel that is easier because you are in that study mode. Your mind is very, very much, in that mode where it can absorb a lot of material. So that is important. And second, I think a lot of what I find students facing is that they're not clear what they want to do. Like they want to work and they want to prepare for UPSC at the same time, which makes it a little difficult. I would suggest that you should be clear on what you want in life. If you want to work full time and if you want to do UPSC part time, then that is not possible. Working part-time and doing UPSC full-time, that is possible. So I set up my CA firm also, and I used to do some tax audits during September whenever I used to get some amount of tax audits or 3CB filings that I used to do, uh, 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 which was a part-time exercise. So that part-time exercise complemented my full-time UPSC preparation. But had I desired to work full-time and do UPSC part-time, then it would not have been possible. So everybody needs to get their priorities right, as in like what are they thinking about UPSC? Is UPSC the main goal or not? If UPSC is your main goal, then you should make it your full-time thing. You cannot make it your part-time thing and think that you'll clear it. Second, a lot of people, what they do is they prepare for UPSC also, they prepare for RBI, they prepare for other exams also. Initially, I would suggest that you should only prepare for UPSC, at least for 2 or 3 attempts. That is very important. You should give UPSC the chance of you should devote all your energies and abilities, at least for the beginning 2 attempts or 3 attempts. That is very important. So that is, I think that is the basics. And then when once you've made your mind that you want to go for UPSC, then you need to have somebody in your knowledge that the person who's cleared UPSC. In my case, I was fortunate because the year that I joined my UPSC preparation, my college juniors had cleared UPSC that very same year, and they had cleared with flying colors. Like they were all under rank 100. So I contacted them, and they were of great use. So you need to have one person in your knowledge who's cleared that exam, who's able to guide you through the whole process. So that I was fortunate enough to have those kind of people in my life, and they guided me step by step. They guided me even finding a room in old Rajendra Nagar where to live. So that was the level of help that I got. So everything from the choice of books to study material to coaching institutes to where I should live, everything they guided. So that is very important. You should have one person in your life who's cleared that exam and who's guiding you in every single step. If that is not possible, then go to go on the internet and find a blog of somebody who's cleared the exam, which you can find trustworthy. So that follow that one person who's cleared that exam, and follow just one person. Don't try and follow 5 or 6 people. Choose one person and follow him in and out. That is very important. And obviously, third is like you need to plan your preparation. So my schedule was prepared for the next 4 months about what I had to study every single day. Like date wise, I had my subjects figured out. Like on this day, I will study this subject. This day, I will study. So that level of planning is very important. So all these nitty-gritties you need to manage very clearly, and I think that is very important. And obviously, family, the role of family is paramount. So I had absolute support of my family. There was absolutely they had no demands from me. They had no expectations from me. They said, take as much time as you want. Do whatever you want. Tell us what you need. You will get it. That kind of support that I had from my family. So that is I think something that is of an absolute must. I don't think there can ever be any compromise on the level of family support. That is a must, and your family should be willing to stand with you for during this journey. That is very important.
So Manish, you started your UPSC preparations just after CA and
Yeah.
CA. So can you say, or can one assume that if a person who's not doing CA, can they start the UPSC preparation when they are in college or just right after college?
Yeah. I think you can start your preparation in your second last year of college. That is the best time, and I think in your last year of college you can I think you're allowed to give the UPSC prelims exam. I'm not sure. Either it's on the last year of college or the year after you graduate. It's either that, the regulations. But you can start your preparation in the second last or the last year of college. You can start your preparation. I think a lot of people they clear who clear in the first or second attempt. There are people who've started prepare during their college time. And more important, if you're preparing from the last year of college, it is important that you start reading newspapers right from the very first year. So newspapers are very important, and newspapers, even a casual reading of newspapers from the first year of college or from school helps. It helps a lot. So you need to have a habit of reading newspapers or reading some good magazines which deal with current issues or economic issues or developmental issues. So that habit should be there. And even if you don't start a full-fledged preparation from the first year of college, at least newspaper reading is something that you can start from first year. So that is there.
Got it. I'm sure all these tips will really help the students who are watching this video. So that brings us to the last question. What is the one message that you would want to give to the CA students and to all the UPSC aspirants out there?
Being a chartered accountant, you are already making a big impact on the society through your work. So it is not important for you to be on the government side to make a big impact. If you do your work diligently, honestly, and ethically, working from the side of corporates itself, or practicing as a chartered accountant itself, you are going to make a big impact today or tomorrow. That is given. I think what is important for us to understand is that chartered accountants have to live up to the reputation of being professionally competent and being very, very, very ethical, which is very important in today's times. So, as chartered accountants, it is important that you work with utmost ethical values, and you exercise all the professional diligence that is required to be undertaken in any exercise, in any assignment that is given to you, whether you're practicing or whether you are. So I think the morality side of it is not spoken very often, but I think that is very important. And since we see the other side of we face chartered accountants in our day-to-day proceeding, we understand how important it is to be ethical, moral, and just in your dealings, especially when on the other side of table, if you, I chartered accountants come and represent in my office, so I know that it is important to highlight this, that whatever advisory that you give to your as a consultant or as a head, as a business vertical head in your company, that has to take into account the fact that you are following the law in its letter as well as its spirit. You are being diligent, and you're respecting the law, because at the end of the day, it is important that chartered accountancy as a profession and as a name has to grow. So that is very important, and I think everybody should recognize the fact that we should all work towards making this profession more respectable and more looked upon. If anybody is preparing for UPSC, everybody gets 6 attempts on a minimum. If you don't give up, you will make it. Just don't give up. And you will have self-doubts. There's no question about it. But persist, and persist. That's the key. You have to keep persisting. So there's no question about that. I think it's worth the whole journey of UPSC preparation. Is worth it, and whether you make it or not, at the end of the day, you will come out as a better person, and you will do something wonderful in your life. No matter even if you don't clear the exam, you will do wonderful, because that whole journey itself is very rigorous, and it will make a man out of you.
That I am sure anybody who gets the knowledge under the sun, which is
Yes.
basically the syllabus of UPSC, everything under the sun. I'm sure if you
Yes.
have that much of persistence, patience, and perseverance to go through that journey and to absorb that amount of knowledge, whether you make it as a UPSC aspirant or not, you would definitely make yourself as a better person out there, and in whichever field that person would go would be he or she would excel. So I have no doubt about it. And with this brings us to the end of this conversation. Thank you so much, Manesh, for sharing your time. And thank you so much for sharing your journey. I am sure anybody who would have seen this video would get some or the other notes from the message that you have given, the tips that you have shared, the journey you've shared from boarding school to SRCC to CA and then to IRS world. So thank you again for your time, and thank you all of you guys who are watching this video. Thank you for being a part of this journey. We will come up with more of such inspiring stories, and till then, stay home and stay safe. Keep visualizing your goals and dream big.